Hello everybody! Thank you for joining me for another Rambling Rant review. This time, we will be reviewing RWBY Volume 3, Chapter 9, PvP. A quick little warning, Gray's link about viewer discretion is still up on the main site, so again, if you have little ones in the room, I suggest you either put on headphones or ask them not to look, because my reaction to this episode is gonna need a little bit of viewer discretion as well, because it gets emotional, and I get emotional, and I will be possibly dropping some F-bombs and words that you might not want little ones learning. So there's my warning to you guys. So let's begin. We pick up where we left off. Penny versus Pyrrha, PvP. Well, not exactly where we left off. We're actually a few minutes before where we left off. We are in Ozpin's office, and I can hear you saying it already. Swarley's gonna talk about Ozpin's office and how cool he thinks it is for 10 minutes before getting to the awesome fights. Well, only 5 minutes, but I'm still gonna do it. In this scene, Ozpin is settling down with some coffee to watch the Pyrrha versus Penny fight. And right off the bat, this high camera angle. Again, another camera angle. That's the first time we've seen. And also for another first, the gears in his office, them being in motion, we've seen that a lot. But this is the first time we've actually heard them. And they are definitely the sound that the gears and a clock would make. Yet more symbolism directed towards Ozpin. Also, as he sits down, we see the arena outside of Ozpin's window just floating in the sky. This type of shot that they just kind of started doing noticeably last episode, if you remember me mentioning it, from Yang's dorm room. And I'll say it again, this is great because it helps show us that all these different locations are connected. Viewing distance, walking distance. If anything goes wrong in one place, it affects all the others. Already the music is picking up, amping us up with this weird sort of techno gladiator vibe. I love it. Now, we are caught up to where we left off before. Penny versus Pyrrha. Penny, when they're starting up, actually being the more talkative one, as it seems Pyrrha is already starting to have jitters.
This is going to be so much fun!
Oh, Penny, you have no idea. We go back to Mercury holding up RWBY. She is still unaware of exactly what's going on, but all she does know is that something is up. RWBY and Mercury end up playing an advanced game of Red Rover. Cutting between this and the Penny Pyrrha fight, Jean in the stands obviously worried about what's happened between him and Pyrrha last episode, and he should be because Emerald is already working her magic, semblance, whatever. RWBY slips by Mercury using her special spiral cape attack, trademark. Finally, we stay on the PvP fight long enough to enjoy a good bit of action. And partway through, we see Pyrrha finding her confidence again, even cracking a little self-confident smirk at one point, but still relying heavily on her semblance, using it more openly than she usually would. Penny is fighting well too, a big improvement over her fight in Volume 1. Now, because I did my very first review on RWBY Volume 1 years ago, and I did it all just in one video, I never got really into Penny's fighting style, but now I have that chance, and that style is shining through for anybody that remembers Monty Oom's Dead Fantasy series. You will remember this style being very similar to Naminé's Keyblade style from his video series. Now, this is her fighting style in relation to the Dead Fantasy series, not the Kingdom Hearts games. The main difference, though, between Naminé's Keyblade style and Penny's sword fighting style, though, is that Naminé was controlling her Keyblades with telekinesis, while Penny is using highly durable steel strings. Back to the fight, we have magnetism, we have swords, we have lasers, oh my! And in the end, Pyrrha loses both her sword and shield, and Penny even knocking them further away when Pyrrha tries to use her magnetic personality to pull them towards herself. Not her personality, her semblance, but you get my idea. This shows me that Penny's AI has been learning during the tournament. The Volume 1 fight, she uses mostly just brute force. But this time, it actually seems more like she's thinking. But nothing could prepare her for this. Victory was almost at hand for Penny. She's poised her 6 blades up above her for a final attack when Emerald activates her hallucinations. And similarly to how she made Yang think that she was in danger, Pyrrha is made to believe by Emerald that Penny's 6 blades have become hundreds, causing her to go overboard with her magnetic semblance. Now this is where I got completely blindsided. I expected Pyrrha to realize Penny was made of metal and then maybe toss her around a bit, revealing underneath her skin that there would be metal, kind of like how Penny revealed to RWBY that she was a robot just by kind of like showing her hands. But no! They go above and beyond that here. The steel wires connected to Penny's swords wrap around a magnetically stunned and charged Penny, tightening in slow motion, eventually cutting her to pieces. Fucking savage, Rooster Teeth. Goddamn fucking savage. God damn this camera angle. From inside Penny, you see her clothes ripping. Why? What the hell? Well, I know why. It's to get the emotional response from us, the viewer, but Jeebus! It works so good, but then that final look in her eyes as the shutter-type irises go wide, just, wow. Like, so bad, but it's so well done, so good, like, goddamn Rooster Teeth, I hate you, but I love you so much at the same time for just going all out on this. But all is not lost. While I was emotionally reeling in the moment, and this is also how I can kind of get through describing the whole thing with Penny without kind of losing myself too much, I kind of knew, in the end, all would be well. Why? This old man! This has to be Penny's dad/creator. We don't know his name, but seeing as Penny is based off Pinocchio, and we also have Torchwick, who was from the same fairy tale story, this is most likely Geppetto, or the person who they based Geppetto on, her creator. But I'll be damned if he doesn't look more like Dr. Light from Mega Man. But either way, if we look at where Penny was cut, it was in the thinnest part of her waist and her arm. If I was a gambling man, I would say no critical parts of her actually got hit. The critical parts that make Penny who she is, what she is, would be her power, or aura core maybe, and I'd say her chest, and her memory banks in her head, both of which undamaged. What I think we saw with her eyes going all wide and her sort of shutting down was probably some sort of emergency system shutdown, or for those of you that watch Transformers, stasis lock. Right now, I believe this is a low power mode that is just meant to protect Penny's vital system. So all power is being diverted to just keeping her aura core, I'm theorizing on the aura core, and her memory banks intact until somebody can get in there and put her back together. Now, the thing is, she is such an advanced robot that probably only Dr. Light, I mean Geppetto, her creator, can put her back together. So, effectively for now, she is off the table. Effectively for now, she's kind of dead. In the end, Pyrrha won. But what kind of victory is this? Well, as some people in my comments section have pointed out to me, thanks guys, it's actually related to Pyrrha's name. Her namesake is a purific victory, which, according to Wikipedia, is a victory that inflicts such a devastating toll on the victor that it is tantamount to defeat. Sorry, that was a difficult line to say. RWBY arrives just a second too late to see her friend eviscerated and starts to cry along with every nuts and bolts supporter out there. Then you have this asshole in the back. Look at the smile on him. Fuck you, Mercury. You know what? Doesn't Mercury's smile just look like Gabon's asshole smile from Survivor? At this point, Cinder's virus fully activates, and she is now taking over all communications, hijacking the broadcast to spread her message. The whole point of this speech is to spread fear, and she's damn good at it too. She's causing panic, disorganization, and all to attract the Grimm. Two things to note during this speech. First, on a story note, Cinder again mentions that she's from Mistral, and as her and her team have kind of been saying all along and wearing the uniform, I believe that might be true. Or could it be a misdirection still? See, we know so little about her. Is this all just a misdirection to try and have Atlas and the other kingdoms unjustly invade Mistral? I just thought of that now. Like, no, your weapons of mass destruction are in another kingdom. On a production note, getting back to my notes, Jessica Negri brought her A game for voice acting this episode. Seriously, before, like in volume 1 and 2, in my head, all I could hear is, well, it's Jessica Negri's seductive voice again. But here, right here, you forget that Jessica is behind the microphone. This is Cinder the conniving, Cinder the commanding. It is such a good progression, both for the voice actor and the character, that I feel that it deserves to be mentioned and congratulated on a job well done. Jessica, you have found your inner villainess. When Cinder finishes her speech, she shuts down all communications, adding more to the panic, leaving only short-range radios up, but anything to do with the CCT towers are down. Ironwood barges into the announcer's area to try and calm those in the arena.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, there is no need for panic.
Then the Nevermore shows up, and it's time to panic, people! And that's not all! Wait a minute. Whoa. Let's rewind here. Is that one of Junior's men just chilling with some popcorn? Man, I bet he's gonna wish he didn't skip work today. I wonder if that means that Junior is in the area. And if that's the case, if his club is in that area, maybe walking distance even for one of his men just to kind of show up, I wonder if there would be a scene where he's out to defend his bar, maybe even his neighborhood, if the Grimm were out in that area during all of this. Okay, sorry, I digress. So, luckily, the Shield is keeping the Nevermore out. But for how long? Because I don't think that Shield's gonna stay up for long. You know why? Because you have to ask yourself another question. Why was Mercury actually in the maintenance tunnel? It's not to protect Emerald. The arena is a circle. If Mercury is only protecting one part, why is there no one else over here? We know Cinder's not there. We know Neo's not there. We'll get to that later. So Mercury is not there in a defensive position. He's in there for another reason. I think he is there to shut down the Shield when either more Grimm arrive, or from a signal from Cinder, when more panic is to be caused. And in the end, stalling RWBY was just a bonus. Things are getting bad. Like, bad enough that Osmond sends out Glinda and Crow to fight the Grimm. And they pause for a moment, conflicted, not immediately following his orders, because they are actually supposed to be guarding Amber. But Osmond clearly cares about the people under his care, so he sends them to help the citizens anyway. But he stayed behind to watch Amber. He is Amber's lone defender. At this point, Osmond is visibly and audibly pissed. He gives Ironwood a call and gives him the order to fight, sounding like he's ripping him a new one at the same time. And I don't blame him for being pissed. Like, Jesus Christ, there's fucking Oliphants outside! You know, those big-ass Goliaths that we saw from Volume 2, that even Oobleck knew that him and RWBY were not a match for. Nevermores are now bloody attacking the Atlas ships, causing more confusion, leading to my favorite part of this episode, maybe even the volume, introducing once again, the king of sarcasm, the man of class, Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to welcome back Torchwick!
Oh, it is good to be back.
I love the fact that Neo is the one that rescues him too, bringing his hat and cane. Those two are the perfect team. And they hijack a bloody ship too, turning it against Atlas's own ships. And then you have son of a bitch, it's Adam is here too. Adam and the White Fang are here too with a cargo ship filled with Ursas? As if the ones charging the city walls weren't enough. Wow! What an episode. What an episode. That's it. It just ends right there. So much has happened so fast. You have to watch it several times just to catch everything. And I feel like we are at a point right now at episode 9 in volume 3 that we didn't get to until episode 11 in volume 2. So that means this volume is going to have more episodes of fights and story that will hopefully be laid out a lot better than volume 2 sort of crammed together finale. Also, in comparison to volume 2, have you noticed the opening has now, this episode, become a lot more prophetic than the last volume's opening? If you watch the opening, the Grimm are charging, the White Fang have arrived, and if you think about it, the song, When It Falls, do you think that's when the city falls? Or when the arena falls onto the city? That's my theory. Bring down the shields, the Nevermore swarm the arena, the power's cut, and down it comes. Yet another weapon turned against their own enemies. On top of that crap, so much more could possibly happen. As I mentioned, Ironwood and Pyrrha, they're most likely going to get out of the arena together, hopefully, and maybe try for the Fall Maiden Aura transfer. Maybe Cinder is going to head straight for Amber and we possibly get a fight with Osmond. Just as I said, we're going to see all the different teams start fighting. They're all going to get in there, so we're going to see Team SSN. We might even see Team Indigo again, which I hope so much we get to see Team Indigo. We're going to see Team Coffee get back together as well, and maybe Velvet will fight as well, and we finally get to see what is in the box! Okay, I'm cool. I'm calm. All this is just my theory. I do not know what's going to happen next episode, so we're just going to have to wait until then. I cannot wait for next week's episode, but you know what? Screw it. I usually don't do this, but real quick, before I do my usual closing, like, subscribe, and follow on Twitter, let's take a quick peek at the preview for next week. World of Remnant! Alright, 2 weeks from now. Good night.